This week on Retrospect Rewind. We start Retrospect this week in 1994, with Alberta gun owners continuing their fight against federal gun laws.
United we will stand.
On Monday, May 26, 2,500 gun owners and supporters gathered in Wainwright to rally against Ottawa's tough gun legislation. The event spawned the birth of the Responsible Firearms Owners of Alberta, and their protest drew media attention from across the continent. But the one person they were hoping to reach didn't respond as they'd planned. Instead, Justice Minister Alan Rock talked about a total ban on handguns and a national firearms registry. So now the group is taking another shot at the federal gun legislation by holding 4 more rallies in August.
When these rallies are done, the government's going to realize that there is a force that has to be reckoned with.
With one successful rally under his gun belt, Merv Bruno is aiming for more of the same at rallies in Lethbridge, Olds, Edmonton, and St. Paul. To stay on target, the Responsible Firearms Group is trying to dispel its redneck image to appeal to more politicians in Ottawa. But some members believe it will be hard selling the responsible gun owners' image to a government they say doesn't understand the issue.
You take the guys that killed that girl down in Toronto in the restaurant. They shot her with a sawed-off shotgun. You think that they went down and registered their fire? This is crazy.
Organizers of the upcoming St. Paul rally are hoping the event will trigger a response from local gun owners.
Government, they'll just shove that down your throat and we take it and keep taking it. This way here, it'll give the people of St. Paul an opportunity to voice their opinion, to show the government that we're not going to stand for it anymore.
The St. Paul rally is set for August 21st. The RFOA is hoping pro-gun supporters will attend all 4 rallies to show Alan Rock Albertans will not be shot down by Ottawa's gun legislation.
In 1994, Lloydminster sees a big uptick in new residential construction.
A mini construction boom in the border city.
We're certainly as busy as we've ever been.
Latest stats show housing starts on the Alberta side of the border are way up from last year. Between the months of January to June of 1993, 15 homes were built. In the same time period this year, an amazing 65 homes have been put up. These numbers include single detached homes, condominiums, and other dwellings. The increase is being credited to an improved economy. The oil sector is quite busy, and the retail industry is picking up. As well, senior housing projects where all of the maintenance is taken care of are also drawing a lot of people to buy condominiums.
Semi-retired or retired people that, don't want to be mowing their lawn and, shoveling their snow and things like that. It's all included in their condominium fees.
As to what people are looking for when purchasing a home, that varies. Some with families want schools nearby. Others want a location with other amenities close at hand.
What we see is a lot of growth near Bud Miller, and I think that is a feature that makes that market very hot. You have the leisure center there. It's right next to the college. The park itself is beautiful.
What it seems people don't want is a home on the Saskatchewan side. Only 1 home was built in the same time period, and most contractors haven't been building there for years.
We haven't built any houses in Saskatchewan for, a number of years. The market there is just too uneasy with what's going on over there. But, I understand there has been some building, but as far as our company, no, we haven't had any kind of activity over there at all.
But all in all, it's been a very good year, and city officials hope it continues.
We still have some proposals that are coming in that are being talked about for development, especially for the seniors market. There's an effort there by some of the local developers to target even more in that area. So I'm kind of excited that we'll see even better numbers later in the fall.
And in 1998, Vermilion Town Council passes new smoking rules.
Emotions were running high last night at the Vermilion Town Council meeting. That's because an issue that most people in the town feel strongly about was up for discussion. The Clean Air Bylaw was the subject of a public hearing last night. Council members listened to a packed house full of opinions on why or why not the Municipal Act should be passed. Finally, they voted 4-3 to pass the bylaw, which will see public buildings in the town smoke-free by the year 2000. And the Vermilion Tobacco Reduction Committee, the group that brought the bylaw before council back in June, is very happy with the decision.
I think that it's a very good move on the part of the town. Environmental tobacco smoke is a serious health issue, and it's just a matter of time before more and more localities do adopt similar bylaws. By taking the step, Vermilion is just going to encourage other neighboring areas to do the same.
But some residents feel the bylaw could hurt business in their town.
Cafes right now operate from 6, 7 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night to try and survive. They don't make big money in cafes, and it takes 15, 18 hours a day to work to run a cafe. And now you're going to restrict 30% of the population that smokes?
The bylaw involves 2 phases. In 60 days, all public buildings must have designated smoking areas and non-smoking signs posted in these areas. And the second phase is a ban on smoking in all public places where minors are allowed by January 1st, 2000. So far, no other community in the Midwest has taken such a leap.
Well, it is a major step, and I think, I hope that it says to the rest of the world that we're pretty progressive and that we're willing to take the steps that our citizens are asking, and I'm sure there's opposition to it, but hopefully with good education, people will be able to live with this.
But some still feel this bylaw will cause problems for not only residents of Vermilion, but visitors too.
You're also restricting that businessman that comes to Vermilion instead of thinking about starting a business, and he may be a smoker, and he comes to this town and they don't even allow smoking. He's gone to Lloydminster, St. Paul, Wegerville.
Council says the next step is to try and ease residents' concerns while starting the first phase of smoking restrictions.
Coming up on Retrospect Rewind. In 1998, residents in the Battlefords are concerned over plans to twin Highway 16 near the community. Welcome back to Retrospect Rewind. We start our weekly look back in time in 1994 as those in the chuckwagon community contemplate the safety of the sport.
Last month's death of a chuckwagon racing legend in the body of a bullet, George Norman, left some questioning the safety of the sport. A sport where tragic accidents have cost the lives of Norman this year and Richard Cosgrave some 2 years ago. But these accidents are the exception, and they're not the norm.
It's really sad, but it's just one of those things. I mean, people get killed on the highways, you don't really let it affect you. You just go on with it and run like the way George would want us to.
Loon Late's Ray Mitsewing is a longtime veteran of the sport, and he has had his share of scares on the track. He points out the safety measures chuckwagon racing has taken over the years.
Changes they have made in the last number of years is like the biggest change was moving the stove rack, and like before they used to hang and horses would jump into them, but now they built it right in where the horses can't jump into their stove racks. The other thing is steel reaches. Like everybody runs a steel reach nowadays, and steel poles, this and that, and a lot of guys are going into steel axles too. I guess that's what broke on Richard Cosgrave last year.
The barrels that was the cause of what happened to George, and we've changed them, and every day, every race we go out there, we're looking for more places to improve it, and I think in the last few years we've made it a lot safer.
Chuckwagon racing, just like IndyCar racing, attracts some fans for the speed, the excitement, and the danger. The danger being crashes, which may be thrilling to the fans, but it's terrifying for those involved.
There are people that, when you listen after the races, and if there's been an accident, then that's what they're talking about. They may not talk about that track record that got broken in the same race, but they talk about that crash, and it's human nature. That's the way people are. That it's hard for us because we're so closely associated with it. We'd rather focus on the positive side of it, but it's also something that has to be talked about. And again, if it works to bring them out, go for it.
With the safety moves the association has made over the years, the number of crashes is getting less and less every season. and Church and Company hopes their trend will continue.
And in 1998, residents in the Battlefords are concerned over plans to twin Highway 16 near the community.
A common sight every day in the Battlefords, thousands of vehicles roll into the area every day, many of which are large trucks. With heavy traffic comes the need for more efficient transportation. There are plans to twin the current Highway 16 route through the Battlefords, making driving easier.
If they want to stop, they'll stop.
However, a movement is underway to change all that.
What they need to do is sit down and look at it with fresh eyes. They're sticking to things that were decided in 93, 94, and 95. And they have to look at the economics changing around us. They have to do that.
Sarah Wood is one member of the North Access Committee. They are proposing the highway be routed around the Battlefords, safety being their main concern.
We need to have a better road system in the Battlefords, primarily for safety and the movement of heavy goods.
We have one of the worst highways right here in the Battlefords, anywheres in Western Canada or even Canada.
Orville Billis chairs the committee. He feels too much congestion will be created if the twinning goes ahead.
The existing highway system is very full of curves. It's up and down hills. The truckers can't make much speed. They're trying to get more speed because they want to get through the area fast. Safety, yes. These trucks will pass through the city. They'll be within a couple of miles of city limits, but hey, if they're going to Saskatoon, let's let them get there as fast as they can.
However, at this point, the committee's plan is nothing more than a proposal. As it stands, the project will proceed as planned back in 1994.
Is something that has been discussed between the Department of Highways, the Chamber of Commerce, and local residents. And at present, there hasn't been a final decision made, but the general consensus is to keep the highway twinned at the present, where the present road is.
Also, just the cost, and when you look at all of the issues there, it's multi-million dollars more to do the bypass, and we've had agreement with the city and the town of Battleford to go ahead with putting the project through.
Coming up on Retrospect Rewind. In 1998, a lightning strike sparks a fire near Lloydminster. Welcome back to Retrospect Rewind. Starting off Retrospect this week in 1994, an area producer takes a gamble growing a new crop.
We're learning as we go, and if we do it again, we'd probably do it better.
This is the first year Orst Boyko planted canola. He says he just decided he wanted to try something a little different.
The reason we decided to do something different was the old traditional crops, oats and barley, just don't seem to be giving us the kind of return we need anymore. And I've always been of the type to try something new, and I thought I'd go with canola.
Canola is a dwarf hybrid of the more common sunflower plant. It's used primarily for oil, but it can be marketed for birdseed or feed meal.
It's got a longer growing season than canola, but it's a lot shorter than the traditional sunflowers that were grown. So where the traditional sunflowers is 120 to 130 days, the canola will be probably in that 100-day range, so more like our wheat crops.
And as the name implies, there are similarities between canola and canola, more than just the color.
As with most of our crops, there's going to be some disease problem. And with canola, what it really gets it is sclerotinia, or stem rot as it's known. Many of the producers have seen this within their canola fields, and unfortunately the canola is very susceptible to sclerotinia.
There are some things Boyko would do differently next time. This year he's seeded 7.5 pounds per acre at 3 inches. He says next time he'd go heavier on the seed and about half the depth. He plans on harvesting somewhere near the middle of October, and so far he doesn't foresee any problems, although he says his neighbors might be of another opinion.
When you get a bag of seed and it comes from California, you kind of wonder if you're not a little bit funny when you put it in. But it's done reasonably well under the circumstances, and I don't feel sorry I done it.
And in 1998, a lightning strike sparks a fire near Lloydminster.
This was the scene early this morning. Flames engulfed the Devonian Lake Husky Battery in Lloydminster. Fire crews were called out shortly before 8 a.m., but believe the blaze started just before 7:30. Husky Oil says the fire was discovered by one of their employees shortly after a lightning strike.
At about 7:25 this morning, our worker was coming to work, and as you know, there was a thunderstorm in the area today, and actually just as he was coming in the battery yard, lightning struck our tanks in our facility here, and 2 of our tanks exploded and caught on fire.
The lightning woke some residents in the area and alerted them to the blaze.
Well, first thing I did was hear a thud in the house, and I didn't know what had happened, and then we looked out the window, and there was a big cloud of black smoke coming across our yard, and so I figured that, and then I knew what it was. I knew it was a fire because it's happened before.
Flames could be seen from as far as 4.5 miles away. Fortunately, no one had to be evacuated from the area, but fire officials say they weren't sure what they were dealing with when they arrived at the scene.
Until you actually get to assess, you know, if the tank's already opened up, like the top is already off this one, so it's burning. It's not that serious, but we don't know what's behind, what we can't see. That's what the real concern is.
It took fire crews close to 2 hours to battle the blaze. Firefighters responded from Kitscotty, Blackfoot, County of Vermilion River, and Britannia-Wilton. Husky also had a fire crew at the scene. Foam and water finally smothered the flames shortly after 9 a.m. Husky will now monitor the area and assess the damage. Total cost of the damage is not yet known.
Coming up on Retrospect Rewind. In 1998, work is underway on a new grain terminal west of Vermilion. Welcome back to Retrospect Rewind. With students heading back to school soon, we turn things back to 1994 as Lloydminster Catholic Schools sees an increase in enrollment.
The numbers speak for themselves. In 1992, 1,267 students were enrolled in the Lloydminster Catholic School Division. Last year, the number jumped to 1,343, and this year has increased to over 1,400 students.
Students are coming to our system, and particularly kindergarten. I know that we're at the highest kindergarten ever, and it's in excess now of 140 students, which is a lot. It does have implications. It has implications on staffing, it has implications on room, because our school division is completely filled as of this morning.
With the influx of students in recent years, the impact is being felt and will continue to be felt as enrollment is projected to reach 1,600 in the next 5 years. So plans to curb the problem are already in the works.
What our plan is to have a new school, a new elementary school in Lloydminster, and to change the configuration of our system and make, at the moment we are a K to 7 and an 8 to 12 system, and we're thinking that in order to save room at Holder Rosary, we would make that a 9 to 12 school, which would mean 100 fewer students immediately.
The potential of a new school remains with the Saskatchewan government. It's been agreed to in principle. Now it's a matter of funding that's expected to come from provincial infrastructure money, and according to school officials, hopefully soon.
We are on a list, and we're on a list of priorities, and we're quite a high priority because of our pressure. It's almost, with the Lloydminster Catholic, it's almost like everything's an emergency. Like we need those buildings now. You know, we need the classrooms today.
The need of extra classrooms is already being felt as Father Gorman and St. Joseph's are using portables as classrooms, this for the time being. But Father Gorman will be expanding in the next 2 weeks.
The school was originally built with the idea of having far fewer students enrolled, and right now we are full, and we're looking for space. We're housing 2 classrooms, grades 1 and 2, right now in a trailer, and they will move into the new facility hopefully in the new year.
December 25th is the projected completion date at Father Gorman's school, and it'd be a nice Christmas present. But with the enrollment continuing to grow, the ideal Christmas present would be a new school.
And in 1998, work is underway on a new grain terminal west of Vermilion.
A series of hydraulic jacks, about 150 jacks up there.
Something big is on the horizon along Highway 16, only 15 kilometers east of Vegreville. A new AgPro elevator is in the construction stages. One of 6 new concrete grain terminals being built in Alberta. It's a subsidiary of the Saskatchewan Wheat Pool. The $270 million construction project will include both grain handling facilities and a farm supply service center.
We think that the future, in the next century, movement of grain is going to change. The whole livestock industry is changing. How we meet needs and how we meet our export needs are again going to change. And with that, we're meaning we'll have the ability to hit some direct hits right into boats. We'll be able to go into that pull market of meeting needs of our marketing people around the world at short notice.
AgPro Grain will also offer condo grain storage. Producers can lease the units with a capacity equivalent to 4,000 bushels of spring wheat.
We're looking at the ability to have a farmer have producer lease storage here. That will be he'll be able to use that at any time he wants, as many times as he wants in a year. It's his, a one-time cost up front. Information can be gotten from any of our locations across Alberta. And we encourage producers to inquire. We will be doing some meetings here in the near future around areas to explain exactly the benefits of the whole condo program. It is a one-time cost. We look after everything else from there, and we believe producers will and should take advantage of it.
The Lavoie Grain Terminal just completed its concrete pour. This was a continuous pour lasting 6 days. They made good time too, averaging a foot an hour, but it takes many workers to move that fast.
Right now there's 61 people on the deck, actually up on the elevator. There's quite a group more at the concrete plant and doing the testing and so on.
Total storage capacity of the condos will be 42,000 tons. The Lavoie terminal will also clean grain and a spot of 104 rail cars, loading on 4 tracks. It's easy to see why the people involved are anticipating the end product.
Well, I guess as far as AgPro in Alberta, we're looking very much of getting into the market here. We think that we can be successful if people give us a chance to prove what we can do for them. And again, we hope that we can do some business in the very near future with people.
So you're definitely looking forward to the future then?
You bet. The future is where it's at.
Almost all 60 people working to build the structure are local, and when completed, this AgPro grain terminal will employ 20 full-time people. It's expected to be in full operation by the spring of 1999.
And this has been our week in Retrospect.